A lot of discussions must be taking place at Moor Farm right now as Derby County are preparing for not only the busiest Christmas period that they could possibly anticipate, but also a huge January transfer window. Now, as a player which I believe that Derby County should be taking a look at and trying to get a deal done for that January window, and a player who many of you may know well. Now, we discussed interest in Harry Amass back in the summer, and we're going to discuss it yet again right now on the channel. Now, this is the Derby Digest. We cover everything Derby County related, from news, previews and matchday vlogs. There's also watch-alongs for away games, so if you have not done so already, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, and let's get into it. Now, Harry Amass currently finds himself on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, and there is a potential situation that Sheffield Wednesday cannot renew that loan. Now, that means that the Man United youngster could potentially head to another Championship club. Now, over the course of this season so far, he's had a fairly decent start to life at Sheffield Wednesday, but obviously Sheffield Wednesday haven't quite been the greatest team on the planet. With everything going off the pitch, is there a possibility Amass could move to another club in the Championship? And in my opinion, Derby County should be one of them. Now, Football League World have put together a really good article discussing why he could leave Sheffield Wednesday and why the likes of Derby County, Portsmouth and I think Birmingham are the other team, could potentially make a move for the youngster. Now, I think we've got to be very open and honest about this move. It is a move which is going to be very, very interesting for not just Harry Amass, but also Sheffield Wednesday, because it puts them in a situation where they obviously lose a player, which is massively disappointing for them at this point. But we've got to be very, very open and honest about the fact that Sheffield Wednesday are in a situation where they're pretty much guaranteed to go down. He might play every single game, but they're pretty much going down. Now, I do believe that the loan expires in January, as soon as January starts, and there's a range of different teams who are sort of interested in putting up an extra option in that left back position. And you look at Derby County, for me, which is the most obvious move for me. You look at it and you go, Derby County at the moment have Callum Elder and Craig Forsyth as their only left-back options. Craig Forsyth doesn't really have the legs to play left wing-back anymore, which we've been playing recently. Callum Elder's had his up and downs with injuries and illness over the course of this season so far. And I think a move for Harry Amass, the youngster from Manchester United, is a great move in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, when you look at this sort of situation in regards to Harry Amass, he obviously wants to be playing football. Now, if he was to come to Derby County, am I going to turn around and say that he'd be playing a hell of a lot of football? I don't know. That would purely depend on where he's ranked in terms of John Eustace for me. Now, obviously, if we look over the course of his career so far, he's made a fair few senior appearances for Man United. A lot of them come in over the course of the 24-25 season. We made 5 appearances in the Premier League and 2 appearances in the Europa League. Obviously, this season, 14 appearances for Sheffield Wednesday, 1 goal, 1 assist and 1 yellow card. And I don't think we can doubt his ability, in my personal opinion. I think he's a player that has ability in abundance. Obviously, left back, left wing back is sort of his role. And I think when you look at the Derby County situation, I certainly think that he'd be a great option. Now, obviously, during the summer, Derby County brought in Owen Beck to try and provide an extra option in that left back, left wing back position to give a little bit of a breather to Craig Forsyth, give Callum Elder that opportunity to step in and out. But obviously, Derby County fans never got to see Owen Beck in a Derby County shirt, with him suffering an injury, warming up for his first pre-season game. Then, upon return from injury, suffered a setback. Then, on the second return from injury, he suffered another major setback in an under-21s game, which was hugely disappointing for me as a Derby County fan, because I was really excited to see what Owen Beck could produce at Derby County, and I was really excited to see how he could impact Derby County going forwards and defensively from that left wing-back role, which he did ever so well last season for Blackburn Rovers. And I think when we look at Harry Amass, do I think that he's going to come in and sort of offer that same sort of option that Owen Beck could do? I'm not entirely sure, but I do think that he will be available. I think we've already seen that this season with 14 appearances out of 18 championship games. I think he's very much a player who has the quality, very much a player who Derby County were looking at during the summer. And I think if you sort of look at that situation and go, well, Derby County opened the navigation in the summer. It didn't quite come through because of the situation at Sheffield Wednesday. Now, it says on here that his contract expires in the summer. However, I do believe that to be wrong. But we will wait and see. Now, it is one of those situations where I do believe that Harry Amass needs to go and play at a club that is sort of picking up results and picking up confidence, because as much as that Sheffield Wednesday team, you look at it and they've literally got nothing to play for at this point, and they're a very, very good... They're not a good team. Let's not beat around the bush. They're not a good team because a lot of the players that would have been and made them a good team aren't there anymore. They're using a lot of youth at the moment. Now, I'm not going to turn around and act as if Sheffield Wednesday don't offer more amount of minutes. But what I do think Derby County offer as opposed to that is a more competitive situation. At the moment, we're 3 points outside of playoffs, I think it is. We're about 6 points away from those automatic promotion places, and we're firmly within mid-table. Now, I find myself in a situation where I'm looking at this deal for Harry Amass and what could potentially come and join Derby County, and I look at it and I go, if he was to join Derby County, he joins a heavily competitive squad with a lot of numbers in the building. He's going to have to earn his way into the team. He's not just going to be gifted a place because of the situation of the club. And he's also going to be battling for a potential playoff position. Now, Derby County's January window is going to determine where they end up this season, and that is what is massive for me. And I believe a left-back should be on the agenda, a central midfielder should be on the agenda, and a number 9. I think Harry Amass is definitely sort of in that window of opportunity of what Derby County need. A player who's young, hungry, and has a point to prove. And I think Harry Amass certainly finds himself in that bracket. Now, obviously, you lot can all give me your take on that, because it is a very interesting one. Obviously, everyone will have different opinions on this, especially with him being a youngster. Will he want to move clubs in January? Will he want to stay at Sheffield Wednesday? These are the situations that we find ourselves in. And in my personal opinion, I think that the best thing for Harry Amass would be to get himself in a more competitive environment, in an environment where you've not got all the behind-the-scenes drama causing a problem. And I look back to Derby County during... was it 21-22 when we was in administration? It might have been the season before that, but whatever. I look at that situation, and as much as the youth flourished at Derby County, they weren't youth from other clubs. They were youth from our own academy that we ended up then having to sell and essentially auction off. And I think when you look at someone like Harry Amass, he's got the opportunity to go and do great things for Man United in the future, but he needs to learn to play in a competitive environment and in a stadium of 30,000 people, not at Sheffield Wednesday, in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, everyone will have their own opinion on this, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.